Retirement is not simply about choosing the lowest-priced home you can find. A community may be inexpensive and yet feel isolated, impractical, or too distant from the essential services you rely on. The more important question is this: where can you enjoy a peaceful lifestyle, manage your expenses comfortably, access quality healthcare, spend time in nature, and still feel that your life has grown richer rather than smaller? Music. This is where many people make the wrong assumption. The ideal retirement town is not necessarily the place with the sunniest climate or the most picture-perfect scenery. It is the place where your savings stretch further, daily tasks remain easy, healthcare is accessible, and your days feel relaxed without becoming dull. That is exactly what this list focuses on. These are Canadian towns where retirement remains practical and attainable, not luxury resort destinations, not remote villages with little to offer, and not communities that look appealing only in photographs. These are places where affordability, tranquility, community connections, healthcare availability, and day-to-day comfort combine in a way that works for people seeking a slower pace without sacrificing convenience.
Winter can be serious, the economy is modest, and anyone expecting constant entertainment.
Number 10. Campbellton, New Brunswick. Campbellton rests along the Restigouche River in northern New Brunswick, looking across the water toward Quebec and framed by Sugarloaf Mountain. It is the type of town that does not try to impress through size or scale. Instead, it stands out because of its surroundings. The river, mountain views, bridge, and waterfront create a peaceful atmosphere that many far more expensive retirement destinations would envy. For retirees, affordability is the first major advantage. Campbellton is removed from the intense housing markets found in southern Ontario, coastal British Columbia, and Halifax. Home prices can still feel attainable for those relying on retirement savings, pension income, or proceeds from selling a larger property elsewhere. This is important because retirement quickly becomes stressful when housing expenses consume most of the budget. The second advantage is that Campbellton offers more than attractive scenery. It serves as a genuine regional hub. The town provides shopping, essential services, healthcare facilities, and a downtown area that supports residents rather than catering only to visitors. This matters because many quiet communities become challenging when you need groceries, banking services, medical appointments, winter supplies, or assistance with home maintenance. Campbellton may be modest in size, but it remains functional and practical. There is also a psychological benefit to living in a place like this. Campbellton does not feel like a town constantly competing for growth or attention. Instead, it feels like a place where retirees can step away from the pressure of everyday competition while still enjoying natural beauty, local services, and community life. The pace is calm without feeling stagnant. The waterfront is easy to explore on foot. Sugarloaf Provincial Park is nearby, and the surrounding area provides opportunities for hiking, skiing, fishing, and scenic road trips. For retirees who appreciate the outdoors without wanting to live in complete isolation, this balance is appealing. You can enjoy river and mountain views while remaining connected to a functioning community. The trade-off is location. Campbellton is a considerable distance from Canada's largest urban centers, which can become more significant later in life. Specialized medical services may require travel. Winters can be harsh, and the local economy remains relatively modest. Anyone looking for non-stop entertainment may find the town too quiet. However, for retirees seeking affordability, peace, and impressive natural surroundings, Campbellton deserves serious consideration. Another reason Campbellton stands out is its strong sense of identity. You are not moving into a generic suburban development that could exist anywhere in the country. You are settling into a riverfront community shaped by its border location, mountain backdrop, and relaxed pace of life. That sense of character becomes valuable during retirement because people often need more than low costs. They need a place that makes everyday life feel meaningful and connected. It may not be the most glamorous retirement destination, but it is a sensible one. A river town with mountain scenery, affordable housing, and enough services to make a quiet lifestyle feel secure rather than uncertain. Number 9. Dauphin, Manitoba. Dauphin is the type of community that frequently escapes attention because it rarely appears on mainstream retirement rankings. Located in western Manitoba near Riding Mountain National Park, it is surrounded by farmland, prairie landscapes, lakes, and vast open skis. The sense of peace here is different from what you find in coastal communities. The tranquility comes from space, routine, and a slower rhythm of daily life. Its greatest advantage is affordability. Outside Winnipeg, Manitoba continues to offer housing opportunities that many retirees find surprisingly accessible. Compared with many parts of Canada, Dauphin still feels genuinely attainable. It offers retirees an opportunity to purchase a home or downsize without facing unrealistic real estate costs. For individuals living on pensions or fixed retirement incomes, that affordability can determine whether retirement feels relaxed and manageable or financially stressful month after month. Dauphin also provides a solid range of practical services. It is not a small rural settlement with a single shop and lengthy drives for every necessity. Instead, it serves as a regional hub with healthcare facilities, retail stores, recreational amenities, parks, and community programs. That role is important because retirees require more than attractive scenery. They need a community that supports everyday living. Its proximity to Riding Mountain National Park is another major benefit. Residents can enjoy life in a quieter and more affordable city while remaining close to forests, lakes, wildlife, hiking trails, and one of Manitoba's most impressive natural destinations. For retirees who appreciate walking, fishing, birdwatching, scenic road trips, or simply spending time outdoors, that access can significantly enhance daily life. The atmosphere is steady and unpretentious. Dauphin is not attempting to reinvent itself as a trendy destination. It offers festivals, local traditions, recreational opportunities, and a strong community spirit, yet it does not feel built primarily for tourists. That can be an advantage during retirement. Most people want enough activities to stay engaged, but not so much development that the community becomes crowded, expensive, or hectic. The downside is the climate and relative isolation. Manitoba winters are lengthy and harsh, and anyone unprepared for those conditions may find them challenging. Major urban conveniences are not immediately nearby. Accessing flights, specialized healthcare, or large-scale shopping often requires advanced planning. However, for those who place a higher value on affordability, community connections, and outdoor access than on big city convenience, Dauphin can be an excellent retirement choice. Dauphin also offers a community size that many retirees find reassuring. It is large enough to provide privacy when desired, yet small enough that local life still feels personal and familiar. You regularly encounter the same faces at stores, community gatherings, parks, and healthcare facilities. For retirees who do not want the anonymity often associated with major cities, this can make the transition into retirement much smoother. It is a destination for people seeking a grounded lifestyle, not flashy, not crowded but dependable, affordable, and surrounded by landscapes that make a peaceful retirement feel rewarding. Number 8. Thetford Mines, Quebec. Thetford Mines is not usually the first location that comes to mind when people imagine retiring in Quebec. That is precisely why it deserves a place on this list. It is affordable, practical, surrounded by natural beauty, and large enough to provide essential services without feeling overwhelming. It may not possess the polished image of Quebec's most famous towns, but that also makes it a more realistic option. The community has an industrial heritage. Music. That history gives Thetford Mines a more rugged character than the postcard-perfect villages found along the St. Lawrence River. Some people may view that as a disadvantage. However, retirees who prioritize affordability, convenience, and overall livability over tourist appeal may find a compelling case for moving here. Housing costs remain significantly more reasonable than in Quebec City, Montreal, or many highly sought-after smaller communities. The natural setting is also far more appealing than many outsiders expect. The region features lakes, hills, walking trails, and numerous opportunities for outdoor recreation. Moving here is not simply about reducing expenses. It is also about enjoying a quieter environment with nature close at hand. That becomes increasingly valuable in retirement, when walking, fresh air, scenic drives, and comfortable routines often matter more than nightlife or prestige. The town also benefits from healthcare facilities and regional services, which are crucial considerations for retirees. A peaceful location loses much of its value if every medical appointment requires extensive travel. Thetford Mines provides a more complete small city infrastructure than many lower-cost rural communities. Residents have access to shops, healthcare providers, local businesses, and enough activity to prevent feelings of isolation. Another strength is that Thetford Mines feels like a community where people genuinely live their lives. It is not dominated by vacation properties or seasonal tourism. Instead, it maintains an authentic year-round rhythm. People work there, raise families there, attend school there, retire there, and participate in everyday community life. For retirees, this can be far more comforting than living in a beautiful town that becomes nearly deserted once tourist season ends. The trade-off involves language and perception. Retirees whose primary language is English would need to consider their comfort level with French. Additionally, the town's industrial past may make it seem less charming or romantic than some of Quebec's better-known retirement destinations. However, retirement is not driven only by scenic appeal or emotional charm. It is primarily about financial sustainability, access to essential services, and whether a person can genuinely feel settled in their environment. Another important factor is overall value. Some retirement destinations charge a premium for aesthetics, reputation, and visual appeal. Thetford Mines stands apart from that pattern. It prioritizes fundamentals first: a livable environment, essential services, retail access, healthcare availability, and nearby natural surroundings. This may appear less romantic at first glance, but for many retirees, it is exactly what creates long-term stability. Thetford Mines represents a highly practical retirement option. It combines affordability, access to healthcare, proximity to nature, and an authentic year-round community, without the inflated expectations often associated with more picturesque but significantly more expensive locations. Number 7. Clarenville, Newfoundland and Labrador. Clarenville is located on the eastern coast of Newfoundland, positioned within the scenic Shoal Harbour River Valley. It presents one of the strongest blends of affordability, natural beauty, and essential services within the province. While it is smaller and more affordable than St. John's, it is also not isolated in the way some remote Newfoundland communities can be. For retirees, Clarenville offers a key advantage. It feels tranquil without feeling disconnected. It sits along the Trans-Canada Highway, which provides far easier regional access compared to many coastal towns. In Newfoundland, this accessibility is significant, as geography often determines whether daily life feels practical or challenging. Clarenville delivers ocean views, rolling hills, walking trails, and a peaceful small-town atmosphere while maintaining strong transport connectivity. Housing costs are generally more reasonable than in many major Canadian housing markets. While not uniformly inexpensive, the overall pricing structure is more attainable compared to the country's most competitive urban regions. For retirees seeking a slower lifestyle without premium property prices, this balance is highly attractive. Healthcare access is another important strength. Clarenville operates as a regional service center and includes hospital facilities that support both the town and surrounding communities. For retirees, this is a crucial distinction. A visually appealing location loses its value if medical care requires long-distance travel for routine needs. The lifestyle in Clarenville is calm, coastal, and closely connected to the outdoors. The region offers walking trails, waterfront views, nearby skiing at White Hills, and access to some of eastern Newfoundland's most striking natural landscapes. While the climate is not mild by conventional retirement expectations, the rugged environment carries a unique appeal that many residents find deeply rewarding. Music. The trade-off comes in the form of weather conditions and geographic isolation from mainland Canada. Fog, strong winds, heavy snowfall, and higher travel costs are realistic considerations. Individuals with family in provinces such as Ontario, Alberta, or British Columbia must account for the logistical and financial impact of travel distance. However, for those who already appreciate Newfoundland's culture or are seeking a quieter Atlantic lifestyle, Clarenville delivers a rare combination of livability and natural beauty. The town also has a more relaxed social rhythm compared to larger urban centers. It is not fast-paced, not overcrowded, and not structured around constant commercial activity. Instead, daily life is built around smaller, familiar routines: scenic drives, short walks, visits to local shops, and interactions with people who recognize one another. For many retirees, this familiarity becomes a meaningful part of daily comfort after decades of working life. Clarenville is best understood as a place for peace without isolation. It offers a slower, grounded lifestyle while still keeping residents connected to essential infrastructure and regional roots. Number 6. Weyburn, Saskatchewan. Weyburn is widely regarded as one of the more practical retirement options in Canada because it combines two critical elements often missing in popular retirement destinations: affordability and dependable services. Located in southeastern Saskatchewan, it is a small city characterized by a steady pace of life, relatively low housing costs, wide streets, green spaces, and an accessible community layout. The primary advantage of Weyburn is cost. Saskatchewan continues to rank among Canada's more affordable housing markets, and Weyburn frequently offers standalone homes at prices that would be unrealistic in larger metropolitan areas. For retirees coming from high-cost provinces, this difference can significantly improve financial flexibility, allowing for reduced housing pressure, travel opportunities, or better management of healthcare expenses. Healthcare infrastructure is another major consideration. Weyburn has placed significant focus on medical facilities and hospital services, which is especially important in retirement planning. A community may be visually appealing and inexpensive, but without reliable healthcare access, it becomes a risk rather than a retirement solution. Weyburn's position as a regional service hub makes it significantly more functional than smaller prairie communities that often lack complete infrastructure. The overall lifestyle is calm, structured, and predictable. It is not designed for individuals seeking mountains, oceans, or the intensity of large metropolitan environments. Instead, it suits people who prioritize quiet residential areas, open landscapes, community facilities, and a slower daily rhythm. The town includes parks, walking trails, recreational amenities, and sufficient retail options to cover everyday necessities. For retirees who prefer consistency and routine, this level of stability can feel reassuring and grounding. Weyburn also benefits from abundant sunlight and wide-open space. Prairie living has its own distinct character: expansive horizons, fresh air, striking skis, and a strong sense of openness. For individuals transitioning from dense suburban environments, this spatial freedom can feel refreshing, as daily life feels less confined and less crowded. The trade-off is the climate and geography. Saskatchewan winters are long, cold, and often challenging, with snow, wind, and icy road conditions forming part of everyday life. The landscape may also feel too flat or visually minimal for those accustomed to more varied terrain. Entertainment and cultural options are more limited than in larger cities, but these very limitations help maintain affordability. The key strength of Weyburn is that it does not present an illusion or lifestyle fantasy. It offers predictability. For many retirees, predictability carries more value than dramatic scenery. Stable expenses, quiet neighborhoods, accessible services, and a steady community environment can significantly reduce the uncertainty that often accompanies aging. Peace is not always defined by oceans or mountains. In many cases, it is defined by the ability to live without financial pressure or logistical stress. Weyburn is not attempting to function as a resort destination. It is designed to be a practical, affordable, and steady place to live. For retirees who prioritize security over scenery, that distinction is often exactly what matters. Number 5. Miramichi, New Brunswick. Miramichi is one of New Brunswick's most overlooked retirement destinations because it combines riverfront scenery, affordability, regional services, and a relaxed pace of life without feeling like a remote rural settlement. It is a city, but not an overwhelming or congested one. It offers space, waterways, history, and a strong sense of local identity. The Miramichi River defines the entire region. It shapes the city's landscape, recreational life, cultural heritage, and overall atmosphere of calm. For retirees, this natural centerpiece is important. It provides opportunities for riverside walks, trail exploration, park visits, and daily interaction with a landscape that feels peaceful without being isolated or empty. Housing affordability is another major advantage. While New Brunswick has experienced rising prices in recent years, Miramichi still provides more accessible housing options compared to many larger Canadian cities. For retirees, the key objective is not only affordability at purchase but also maintaining financial flexibility afterward. Miramichi supports that balance. The city also functions as a regional center with a hospital, retail services, restaurants, religious institutions, recreational facilities, and community organizations. This infrastructure makes it far more sustainable than smaller scenic towns where retirees may eventually feel limited or disconnected. Miramichi offers enough urban structure for daily needs without becoming dense or stressful. The lifestyle is community-focused and unhurried. Local festivals, river culture, outdoor recreation, and long-established traditions contribute to a strong sense of belonging. The city does not feel anonymous. For retirees seeking familiarity and social connection rather than suburban isolation, this can be a meaningful advantage. The trade-offs include distance from major metropolitan centers and cold winter conditions. Some specialized medical or commercial services may require travel, and employment opportunities are limited, although this is generally less relevant in retirement. The river itself adds another layer of livability. Water-based communities often develop natural social and recreational focal points, places to walk, sit, reflect, or bring visitors. In retirement, these simple, low-cost routines become especially valuable. Miramichi is best understood as a place that feels lived in rather than curated. It is affordable, practical, river-centered, and deeply rooted in local identity, offering a retirement experience that is calm without feeling empty. Number 4. Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. Yarmouth is a coastal community located at the southwestern edge of Nova Scotia. It delivers a retirement lifestyle that is maritime in character, practically oriented, and still comparatively affordable when measured against many more famous coastal destinations. It is not as refined or tourist-polished as Lunenburg, it is not as close to Halifax as several other communities, but that separation is part of what keeps it more grounded and realistic. The main attraction begins with its setting. Yarmouth offers harbor views, fresh sea air, historic architecture, waterfront walking paths, public parks, and access to some of Nova Scotia's quieter coastal regions. The connection to the ocean feels functional and working, rather than purely decorative or postcard-like. For retirees seeking coastal character without resort-level pricing, this distinction is significant. The second major strength is infrastructure and services. Yarmouth operates as a regional hub for southwestern Nova Scotia. It includes a hospital, retail centers, community services, and sufficient daily infrastructure to support independent retirement living. This makes it far more practical than small fishing villages that may appear scenic but require long travel times for basic needs. Housing remains relatively more attainable compared to Nova Scotia's most in-demand markets. Although property prices have increased across the province, Yarmouth still represents a middle ground, offering coastal living, essential services, and a slower lifestyle without the extreme costs associated with more heavily promoted areas. It is not the lowest cost location in the country, but within a national context it can still feel reasonably priced. Another important factor is identity. Yarmouth is not simply a cheaper alternative to other destinations. It has its own established maritime culture, fishing heritage, ferry connections, and coastal traditions. This gives it a sense of authenticity, making it feel like a fully developed community rather than a compromised choice. The lifestyle is calm and unhurried, especially suited to those who enjoy walking along the coast, scenic driving routes, local history, and community events. Compared to Halifax, the pace is noticeably slower, which can become more appealing after a lifetime of work. Daily routines can revolve around the harbor, errands, healthcare visits, and short coastal drives. The trade-off is distance and weather exposure. Yarmouth is far from Halifax, which affects access to flights, specialist medical care, and major commercial centers. The climate can also be damp, windy, and fog-prone. Some individuals may view the town as too remote, but retirees prioritizing quiet coastal living may see that distance as part of its character rather than a disadvantage. For those who value the Atlantic lifestyle, that realism is central to its appeal. Yarmouth is not a polished luxury retreat. It is an active coastal community where people live, work, shop, volunteer, and age in place. This makes it feel more authentic as a long-term home compared to destinations that appear ideal for short stays but are less practical year-round. Yarmouth is not perfect, but it is genuine. It provides retirees with maritime living, accessible services, and housing that can still make financial sense. Number 3. Rivière-du-Loup, Quebec. Rivière-du-Loup is located on the south shore of the St. Lawrence River in Quebec's Basse-Saint Laurent region. It is one of those rare communities that feels more refined and elegant than its cost level would suggest. The town features river views, scenic sunsets, public parks, a walkable town center, regional services, and a strong cultural presence rooted in Quebec identity. For retirees, Rivière-du-Loup offers a carefully balanced combination. It is peaceful without being dull. It is visually appealing without being isolated. It remains more affordable than many major Quebec cities yet still provides healthcare access, retail options, restaurants, parks, and cultural activities. This equilibrium is often difficult to find in retirement destinations. The St. Lawrence River serves as the emotional and visual core of the town. Its wide waters, shifting light, ferry movement, riverside parks, and striking sunsets create a strong sense of place. Retirement here is not only about reducing expenses, it is also about integrating natural beauty into everyday life. Rivière-du-Loup also functions as a regional service center rather than just a scenic village. This distinction is important. The presence of healthcare facilities, commercial services, and steady local activity ensures that daily life remains practical and complete. Retirees are not forced to choose between livability and aesthetics in the same way they might be in smaller rural communities. Outdoor opportunities further enhance its appeal. Riverfront walking paths, cycling routes, nearby islands, and access to the broader Basse-Saint Laurent region provide active retirees with consistent options for recreation. The pace of life is slower than Montreal or Quebec City, but it does not feel vacant, it feels stable and established. The trade-offs involve language and climate. English-speaking retirees must realistically consider French language requirements for long-term comfort. Winters can be cold and snowy, which may be challenging for some. Additionally, as awareness of attractive mid-sized towns grows, affordability may gradually change over time. Even so, compared to many Canadian communities offering similar levels of scenery and services, Rivière-du-Loup remains a strong and balanced retirement option. Still represents strong overall value. Rivière-du-Loup also provides something essential for individuals who do not want retirement to feel inactive or repetitive. The town contains enough cultural life, natural scenery and day-to-day activity to keep life meaningfully engaged. Residents can walk along the riverfront, spend time in local parks, explore community spaces, enjoy regional cuisine access services, and remain connected to a region that has a clear and distinct identity. This creates a lifestyle that is calm without becoming monotonous. It is a retirement environment with dignity, visually appealing, practically functional, culturally rooted, and significantly more relaxed than large metropolitan centers. Rivière-du-Loup stands out as a place for people who want tranquility without disconnecting from a real, functioning town. Number 2. Truro, Nova Scotia. Truro is considered one of the most practical retirement locations in Atlantic Canada due to a key geographic advantage. It is centrally positioned within Nova Scotia, providing relatively easy access to Halifax, the Bay of Fundy region, northern parts of the province, and major highway routes. This centrality allows for peaceful living without isolation. The town is widely recognized as a regional hub, and that role is especially important for retirees. Truro contains shopping centers, healthcare facilities, restaurants, public services, parks, and community infrastructure. It is large enough to support daily life comfortably, while still remaining small enough to avoid the congestion, pressure, and high costs associated with major urban centers. This balance is exactly what many retirees actively seek. Another major benefit is flexibility. Living in Truro allows residents to maintain multiple lifestyle options. You can enjoy a quiet day within town, take a short drive to the coast, reach Halifax when necessary, or spend time in local green spaces without extensive travel planning. This adaptability is one of the understated advantages of retirement living. A defining natural feature is Victoria Park, a large forested park located directly within the town. It includes walking trails, waterfalls, ravines, and quiet natural areas. This gives Truro an immediate access to nature advantage that many more expensive communities lack. Residents do not need to leave the town to experience forested landscapes and outdoor recreation. Housing affordability in Nova Scotia has become more challenging overall, but Truro still tends to remain more accessible than Halifax and other high-demand coastal locations. For retirees relocating from more expensive regions, it can serve as a practical transition point, offering lower costs, reliable services, and proximity to the province's main urban center. Truro also maintains a stable year-round population. It is not dependent on seasonal tourism. People live, work, study, shop, and retire there throughout all seasons. This consistency creates a sense of reliability, avoiding the cycle where towns feel lively in summer but quiet or isolated in winter. The main trade-off is character. Truro is not a quiet seaside village. It has commercial zones, traffic activity, and the functional appearance of a service-oriented town. Some may prefer more coastal scenery or aesthetic charm. However, retirement is not solely about appearance, it is about whether a location can reliably support daily life. This practical foundation is what makes Truro particularly effective for retirees. While it may not be the most picturesque destination, it addresses essential needs: accessibility, healthcare, services, green space, and central positioning within the province. In retirement, those functional advantages often outweigh purely visual appeal. Truro stands out because it is realistic. It provides stability, healthcare access, natural surroundings, and geographic convenience. It may not be the most romantic option, but it is among the most livable. Number 1. Elliott Lake, Ontario. Elliott Lake holds the top position because it was effectively reshaped around retirement living. Following the decline of its mining industry, the city gradually evolved into one of Canada's most recognized retirement-focused communities. This does not imply perfection. Rather, it indicates that the city has spent decades aligning itself with the needs of older residents. The most significant advantage is affordability. Compared to much of Ontario, Elliott Lake remains notably accessible in terms of housing costs. In a province where many retirees are priced out of their preferred regions, this affordability provides a realistic opportunity to reduce financial strain and maintain stability in retirement. The second major strength is its natural environment. Elliott Lake is surrounded by forests, lakes, trails, and northern landscapes. Retirement here is not centered in dense suburban development but instead located near water, woodland, fishing areas, walking paths, boating opportunities, and quiet roads. For those who value outdoor calm, the setting is a defining feature. The third key factor is identity. Retirement is not an afterthought in Elliott Lake, it is part of the city's core structure. Community programs, senior-oriented services, social groups, and support systems are built into its fabric, making it especially aligned with the needs of retirees. Music. This focus on retirement-oriented living creates a community where aging is not treated as marginal but as central. That distinction shapes how services are organized and how daily life feels. Elliott Lake is not a luxury destination and it does not attempt to be one. Its strength lies in practicality, affordable living, strong community structure, and direct access to nature. It is designed around the realities of retirement rather than the image of it. For many people, that makes it the most grounded and functional choice on the list. Apartments, leisure opportunities, and a community that understands the realities of aging and later life. In many towns, retirees can feel overlooked or secondary to other populations. In Elliott Lake, however, they are at the center of the community's identity and planning. Access to healthcare is another key factor. The city has a hospital and a range of local medical services, although more advanced or specialized treatment may still require travel to larger urban centers. This reflects the broader reality of Northern Ontario. Elliott Lake offers more structure and support than a remote cottage-style settlement, but it is still far from major metropolitan hubs like Toronto or Ottawa. Retirees need to approach that reality with clarity and honesty. The overall lifestyle is quiet, cost-effective, and strongly oriented toward nature. Residents can live at a relaxed pace, participate in community clubs, walk along lakes and forested areas, enjoy outdoor recreation, and maintain a lower cost of living compared to many other parts of Ontario. This combination is a major reason Elliott Lake is so closely associated with retirement living. The main compromise is geographic isolation, especially during winter months. Northern Ontario winters are severe and travel to larger cities can be time-consuming and weather-dependent. Some individuals may find the environment too remote or too far from family connections. However, for retirees who prioritize affordability, community engagement, and natural surroundings, Elliott Lake remains highly compelling. What makes Elliott Lake particularly distinctive is that retirement is not treated as an afterthought or coincidence. Music. Instead, the city has long operated with a clear understanding of older residents' needs. Lower housing costs, recreational infrastructure, social opportunities, healthcare access, and housing options that do not assume high income levels all form part of its foundation. This intentional focus gives it an advantage over more visually appealing towns that attract retirees but are not structurally designed to support them. It earns the top position because it understands its purpose. For individuals seeking a quieter retirement without sacrificing essential services, Elliott Lake represents one of the clearest examples in Canada of a community shaped specifically around later life. No retirement destination is flawless, and that reality is important. A perfect retirement town often becomes unaffordable very quickly. The more meaningful question is whether a place provides enough natural beauty, essential services, community connection, and financial breathing room to make daily life feel easier rather than more difficult. And that is the core idea behind this list. These are 10 peaceful and relatively affordable Canadian towns where retirement can still remain realistic. Some offer coastal environments, others river valleys, prairie openness, mountain backdrops, or northern lakes. Yet the strongest among them share a common foundation: reduced pressure, adequate services, and a lifestyle that feels manageable day to day. The ideal retirement location is not necessarily the most famous or the absolute cheapest. It is the place where financial stability holds, healthcare needs are respected, daily life remains calm, and the environment continues to offer meaning and engagement. For many retirees, that balance is what truly defines a good life.